In Embermere, a town perched on a spit of land where the river split into channels, a young mason named Cale boasted that he would raise the tallest tower the valley had ever seen. The king would soon visit, and Cale said the tower would announce his name to every village and harbor. He spoke with a spark in his eyes, as if the mortar itself were listening. He announced the plan at the market. 60 days, a tower so high the clouds would blush at its crown. The crowd roared. Many already whispered the name of Cale, the star builder. But an old man stood apart. Elder Ruan, once the royal master builder, now a quiet observer who preferred to measure progress by the weight of the base rather than the height of the spire. He warned Cale very gently that a tower is a map drawn on the ground. The map cannot lie. If the base is unsound, the entire structure will fall. Cale waved away the warning with a smile. "Your map is a map for those who fear to climb," he said. "I was born to climb." He chose not to hire the old master's full crew, for he wanted to prove that he could do it alone, and he insisted on a slick, untested, quick-set mortar that dried in hours, not days. Into the plan stepped Leora, a shy apprentice with a keen eye. She carried a notebook filled with measurements, nothing flashy, just the kind of data a sturdy tower would require. She watched Cale at work and saw the cracks in his confidence. The way he skipped the deeper pilings, the way he pressed a crown of gold onto the capstone, as if the glitter could hold the wind. She spoke once to him softly. "The ground under the riverbank is soft after last month's flood. The tests we need will prove safer for everyone." He answered with a shrug. "Tests take time. Time is money. Money buys the best show." As days turned into weeks, Cale's tower grew taller and more splendid. The scaffolds gleamed. Pans of copper and banners painted in sunrise colors fluttered along the rising walls. The crowd lined the riverfront each evening to watch the hour of the work. The ascent of a tower that would crown the town. Cale would stride along the edges with the air of a conqueror, tapping the stone and declaring, "Behold the power of vision married to speed." Leora kept her notes, tallying the number of deep supports, the consistency of the mix, the rate of curing, and the soil's resistance to the river's pull. The elder returned only once more to speak to Cale, not as a critic, but as a guardian of safety. "I see your crown," he said, pointing to the gilded top, "but the root is missing." Cale laughed, a short, loud sound that rattled in his throat. "Root? We have a root in the earth," he claimed, tapping the foundation with a boastful hammer. "Watch the crown reach the sky." He dismissed the elder's caution with a wave. Then came the storm, a ferocious night when rain hammered like drums and wind tore at the banners. The river swelled. The earth, already compromised by Cale's oversight, shifted beneath the pilings. The maintenance crew scrambled to shore up the base. Cale shouted orders from the tower's mid-level. His voice carried on the gusts. "Hold your lines," he cried, waving a hammer as if it were a scepter. The lines did not hold. The earth sank a little more. The scaffolds swayed. The crown of gold, the symbol of his triumph, trembled and then snapped loose, falling into the river with a silver splash. The tower pitched, then buckled, and slid into a heap of timber and stone. The crowd gasped, and a cry rose up from the mist. People trapped, others racing to safety. Klaxons sounded from the city walls. Leora ran to the base, reading her notes as she moved to the danger, while Elder Ruin scrambled to pull those pinned beneath fallen timbers. Kael himself was lucky to escape with only a torn sleeve, but the sight of the collapsed dream drained the color from his face. In the broken quiet after the storm, Ruin found Kael huddled among the debris, the wind-ruffled dust settling on his shoulders. The old master spoke with a calm that came from decades of watching the world's pride crumble and reform. "Your strongest stone is the one you place beneath your ego," he said. "Pride makes you see a crown where there is only earth." Leora, who had refused to let fear crown her courage with arrogance, knelt beside him and opened her notebook, showing him the precise measurements that might have saved the base, if only he had listened. Kael looked at the ground and felt the cold truth of his error. The town's response was not to punish, but to reflect. The king postponed the festival, and the people gathered to discuss what had happened and what would come next. Kael offered to rebuild, this time with the old master's team, with Leora's careful plan, and with a foundation so firm that nothing short of a flood could shake it. He apologized to those he had dismissed, and to the crowd for the spectacle that risked their safety. In the months that followed, the crew dug deeper pilings, tested every batch of mortar, and measured the ground with patience. The crown was placed again, not as a symbol of triumph, but as a reminder that every height rests on a ground you must respect. When a smaller, safer tower finally stood on the riverbank, a testament to careful planning and humility, the king visited. The builders bowed, and Kael, though older in experience, smiled with a new, steady pride. He did not boast as before. He gave credit to Leora for her warnings and to Elder Ruin for his patient wisdom. In the square, a banner was raised, the words of the old warning carved beneath the new tower, and as the sun set over Embermere, the elder spoke softly to the listening crowd. "Pride comes before a fall."